Welcome to the Pennsylvania Small Business Development Center's Entrepreneurial Education Series. Because this series is designed to help you learn at your own pace, at the end of each slide you will hear a click indicating the end of that slide's narrative. Click the forward button or anywhere on your view screen to advance to the next slide. This educational offering is funded in part by the United States Small Business Administration and the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development. The Pennsylvania Small Business Development Centers is a network of 18 centers located throughout Pennsylvania. We offer no-fee, confidential one-on-one business consulting in a variety of business areas, including financial management, marketing, business planning, and business structure. We also offer consulting and education in specialized services such as international trade, government marketing, environmental management, and business continuity and survival services. Our goal is to provide entrepreneurs with resources and information that will empower them to grow and prosper. This webinar series is designed to prepare you to enter the world of entrepreneurship. At the completion of these 6 webinars, we hope you will be comfortable with the concepts of registering your business and reaching out to lenders or investors, understanding your target market and financial statements, as well as writing your business and marketing plans. Each webinar should take you less than 30 minutes to complete. So what do you need to do before you can say, I am an entrepreneur? We recommend that first you reconcile the legal and tax structures of business offered by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania with the type of business you are planning to start. Business ownership comes with responsibilities. Fortunately, the American legal system offers a multitude of legal business structures to accommodate any organization's particular needs. If you are an inventor, you need to protect your intellectual property. If you are a family restaurant, succession planning and liability are factors to consider. Hiring employees and selling products bring their own set of responsibilities, including registration with state and federal entities. Understanding these factors will help you determine what business structure to consider. Many businesses start out as sole proprietors and later change into partnerships or corporations, depending on the needs of the business as it grows. The following legal structures are available under the laws of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Sole proprietorship is the simplest form of business. It allows a single owner to exercise sole control and responsibility over his or her business. If a business owner plans to use an assumed name, he or she must file a specific form with the Corporation Bureau of the Pennsylvania Department of State. An overview of it is discussed later. General partnership is similar to sole proprietorship with the difference that it allows 2 or more owners. Different types of entities, such as corporations or trusts, may join a partnership to accumulate assets and expertise. Their profits are taxed on a personal level, but the business structure offers no liability protection. Business corporation is a legal entity that encompasses all the attributes of a unique natural person. This legal entity also enjoys the features of limited liability, centralized management, continuity of life, and stock issuance to raise assets. In this webinar, we will discuss the specifics of both the C Corporation and the S Corporation. Limited liability company is a hybrid with attributes of a general partnership and a corporation in that it provides liability protection for all its partners. Just like for a business corporation, a certificate of organization is required to be filed with the Secretary of State. Limited liability partnership is a partnership that provides general partners with liability limitations. LLP is a status that has to be filed for. Certain advantages and disadvantages exist for all business types. For a sole proprietorship, the advantages are those attributable to a single person enterprise. It is easy to form in terms of cost and paperwork and easy to discontinue. Business income taxes are paid through the owner's personal tax return. This does not include sales or employer withholding taxes. And legal and organizational restrictions are minimal. With this freedom comes great responsibility. Hence, the liabilities of the business become the owner's liabilities as well. A general partnership is very much like a sole proprietorship with the added benefit of the combined knowledge and skills of multiple owners. While this entity enjoys taxation on an individual level, it also assumes that owners are subject to self-employment tax. The corporation business structure provides its owners with the most protection against liabilities and is conducive to the transfer of ownership. On the other hand, there is a high cost to form and maintain from administrative and regulatory perspectives. Among the advantages that limited liability company status offers are limited liability risk for its members and the transferability of company ownership. LLCs are fairly easy to operate. The disadvantages are associated with cost and the amount of paperwork required to form. Once you determine the structure you feel is appropriate for your business, it is time to choose a tax designation. There are a few options to choose from. S corporation, contrary to popular belief, is not a legal structure, but rather a tax designation, is limited to corporations with 100 shareholders or less and a limited allowance of contribution from each shareholder. The company pays taxes only on the income which it retains and not on income which is distributed to its shareholders. The shareholders pay income taxes on their respective shares of the income personally. This is known as pass-through taxation. C corporation has no limitation on the number of shareholders. However, as a unique entity, the corporation pays income taxes on all of the income it generates. Any shareholder dividends are also taxed. This creates a double taxation situation as the shareholders' dividends are taxed at the company level and then again at the personal level. The purpose of a benefit corporation is to create a general public benefit and not profit. It is a status that can be elected during or after filing the Articles of Incorporation. Each year, a report must be filed with the Department of State showing the company's exact activities in order to retain the status of a benefit corporation. Not-for-profit corporation is also a tax status. A corporation must file for this structure with both United States Internal Revenue Service and Pennsylvania Bureau of Corporations. This type of corporation must not contemplate profits. S corporation is considered a pass-through entity where its members assume a certain percentage of the ownership and pay taxes on their portion of profits only. An S corp might be expensive to form, as involving a tax attorney would be beneficial. It is also heavily regulated, hence requiring extensive record keeping. Benefit corporation, much like a non-profit corporation, is a very highly regulated tax designation. On one hand, the nonprofit designation is difficult to achieve and requires a heavy administrative burden to maintain. However, once the status is granted, the company will enjoy favorable tax conditions and potentially easy access to capital. You must remember that the members cannot share in the profits gained by corporations operating under these designations. The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania requires registration of all assumed fictitious names used by businesses or individuals. To register an assumed name, you must file an application with a $70 fee. The purpose of this application is to create a public record. In the case of sole proprietorships, an additional requirement of advertisement also applies. Before creating a company name or a DBA for a sole proprietorship, research this name in your state as well as others. Use the Internet and public records maintained by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Even if this name is available for use in your state, there might be additional factors to consider. This business name might exist somewhere else in the nation, and a separate reputation associated with it might discourage you from choosing it. If you are planning to conduct your business internationally, make sure your fictitious name has no negative connotations in other countries. Another legal requirement is to secure your federal employer identification number. Even if hiring employees is not on the horizon, you may need it to create a bank account for your business or apply for business loans, as well as to pay taxes to the state and federal governments. There is no fee associated with establishing an EIN. If desired, an owner of a sole proprietorship with no employees can use their Social Security number instead of an EIN. The address displayed here is for domestic companies and U.S. residents. If the products or services you sell are taxable, you will have to obtain a Pennsylvania state sales and use tax number and remit sales taxes to the Pennsylvania Department of Revenue. This process and the paperwork associated with it is outlined on this slide. Pennsylvania Department of Revenue offers online filing capability for businesses and individuals which can be accessed through eTithes. Additionally, before beginning to sell your products and services, visit the Pennsylvania Department of Revenue website to address whether an exemption applies to your product. If you are not exempt, these websites will help establish the rate at which your product or service might be taxed, as well as tax filing frequency requirements. Once you've determined that you need employees, there are additional rules to abide by. Laws and regulations like the Seasonal Farm Labor Law, Unemployment Compensation Law, and others are outlined on the website provided. Pay specific attention to the difference between federal and state laws. For example, Pennsylvania requires an overtime payment for computer employees, whereas there is no such federal requirement. Hence, depending on the type of business you are starting and the type of work you might need your employees to perform, you might have to consult a counselor at the Department of Labor or an attorney to help you meet all the applicable requirements. There may be local requirements pertinent to your business. Contact your city, borough, or municipality management office to learn of these locally specific requirements. For example, the acquisition of a commercial activity license is a prerequisite for operating a business in the city of Philadelphia. Nonprofit organizations are exempt from this requirement. Just like Pennsylvania has laws and regulations for small businesses, the federal government has parallel and additional requirements to abide by. Before you delve into the world of entrepreneurship, research these to see how they will impact you and your business. Thank you for viewing our How Should I Structure My Business webinar. Please visit our webpage to view other webinars within our First Step series. They include How do I sell my product or service? Where can I find funding to start my business? Understanding financial statements, how do I write a business plan, and costs to consider when starting a business. If you reside or plan to engage in business activities in Pennsylvania and you would like to meet with one of our consultants, please contact your local SBDC by visiting www.pasbdc.org to find the closest center to you. If you are located outside of Pennsylvania, please visit asbdc-us.org to find your local SBDC.